problems, and how to extend the quality of life for your cherished companions. As a community advocate, I will also discuss important social issues that affect our city. I plan to showcase organizations and heroes who are doing amazing things to help others. Remember to tune in every Tuesday morning at 10, starting soon.
This is Miriam, and you're listening to KXVS, the voice of Stockton.
You know what I got? I got a picture of his face with the little pillow on, the sleep face, and we're in Chicago.
Are they already in Chicago?
The one and only Leo Biaz. Hey, Leo.
I'm excited to be back, my man. It was 9 days in Vegas. We got stuck in the desert, and we had a little hangover remix out there, man.
I wore a wig to school once, and they said no headgear was allowed.
How did the
spider web
was it
tights.
Obvious that it was a wig?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was having
a terrible
fun.
wig.
See, this is exactly why we have them on the show, and this is what makes them fun.
You're listening to KXVS, the voice of Stockton, 92.1 FM.
Do you want to relive the golden days of Stockton? Join Nate Knott on Stockton Alive every first and third Monday at 6 p.m. Tune into thevoiceofstockton.org.
Attention, Stockton. Are you experiencing a transition in business, relationships, health, or your life purpose? I'm Darius Oliver, and I help people to look within and find clarity and direction in their constantly changing lives. Tune in and listen with me as I go deep into your patterns and personal cycles through divine numerology. Any life transition you're experiencing can be illuminated by an in-depth analysis of your chart. For the first time in Stockton, you now have access to a professional numerologist here to help you light your own way. I'm in the booth to help you find your own truth. Tune in to Divine Numerology every Friday at 3 p.m. on The Voice of Stockton.
My name is Josh, and you're listening to KXVS, the voice of Stockton, 92.1 FM.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program do not necessarily reflect those of KXVS, the voice of Stockton, or its parents, affiliates, management, and staff.
The Voice of Stockton presents Tell It Like It Is with your hosts, Motex Sanchez and Jerome Clay.
Hey, hello everybody. Thanks for tuning in. This is Tell It Like It Is. I'm Jerome Clay, alongside Motex Sanchez. Tell It Like It is a show where a conservative Republican and a progressive Democrat can come together to discuss political opinions, current events, culture, right? We do so from both sides, whether we agree or disagree, right? But we're going to respect each other's opinion. So tonight we got a special guest, the Honorable Christina Fugazi. But before we get into that, yo, Motex, what we drinking on tonight?
First of all, I want to say salute and cheers and happy Veterans Day.
Happy Veterans Day.
To all the veterans out there that have served. We appreciate your service. Thank you and cheers.
That's right, right. All the veterans out there, we appreciate your service. I was in the Air Force. Were you in the Marines?
Marine Corps.
Right.
It
just
representing today, you know.
Right. Air Force
we just
all
had
day.
our 243rd birthday yesterday.
It's all about the Air Force. That light blue.
If you want the best like dorm rooms that are like the Hilton and the best chow, it's about the Air Force.
So let's talk about tonight's show. Tonight's show.
You want the real military experience.
We're not gonna get into this buffoonery tonight. So tonight's show, we're gonna talk about the blue wave, the so-called blue wave. We also want to talk about some statewide elections or statewide propositions. And we got to get into that Trump appointing that AG, and was it constitutional or not? So stay tuned. You know, once again, debates might be fiery, exchanges might be heated, but at the end, we listen to each other from both sides respectfully. So let's get into this show.
Okay, let's talk.
Let's talk about that blue wave. So as a progressive Democrat, as a Bernie Sanders socialist, did that blue wave come? Did that blue wave come? Was it a tsunami or was it like a tinkle?
It was like one of them little wading pools at the hotel pool.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that. But
the red end?
But it still got your feet wet. Right?
Okay, the Red Inn swimming pool.
Democrats took the House.
Okay.
Right? So now Trump and the Republicans no longer have the super majority.
Okay.
They have to contend with the leadership of the Democrats in the House, and I imagine that's going to be very interesting, if not all out dysfunctional for the next couple years.
But what about the Senate? Because at the end of the day, I mean, I keep hearing this, the Democrats took the House. However, with the Senate, Trump can still appoint more judges, more conservative judges. Trump can still make more appointments, right?
They still definitely have the upper hand.
Right, so even with the House, right? So let's talk about the House.
And real quick, with Ruth Bader Ginsburg getting sick, it's looking possibly he might even be having another Supreme Court pick
right,
soon.
So he could have 6 conservatives on the Supreme Court. But let's talk about the House, right? So the House is, you run every 2 years, right? So it can change again in the next 2 years. But all the House has right now is the power to investigate, right? So we know they're talking about from Hitler and you're talking about Maxine Waters and Elijah Cummings, that they want to do this investigation. What people don't realize, even when you do these investigations, when you send out a subpoena, if Trump ignores them, all Congress can do is do what's called put him in contempt of Congress.
Yeah.
Well, what's contempt of Congress? I mean, what U.S. attorney is going to file on the president contempt of Congress? So really, they're going to do all these investigations. They're not going to see their tax returns.
I don't see it amounting to much, because I think what the Democratic Party leadership still does not get is, and Trump said it best himself while he was running for president. He was forecasting when he said, look, I can literally walk up in a crowd, shoot somebody, and my supporters will still support me.
Well,
right?
Yeah.
Nobody cares when you have that level of dedication of people who are supporting somebody because of more of getting to the point where it's like a personality cult type of following. Nobody's going to care about a contempt of Congress or any investigation, because at what point people are becoming inoculated and immune to all of these investigations, even when things are found for him to be guilty. I mean, they threw a porn star at him. They threw tape recordings at him. They got all this evidence that if we were in a different era,
right,
and you had somebody that was viewed as more respectable to begin with, it would have tore him down.
So let's look at John F. Kennedy, because you said a different era. He was sleeping with the honorable,
but all of that didn't come out.
Come on, and so he was cheating on Jackie Onassis left and right. Let's talk about the great.
There's a difference between Stormy Daniel and Marilyn Monroe.
Okay, what about the great Bill Clinton? All right, Bill Clinton had Monica Lewinsky. He had Pauletta Jones, right? So he had great Juanita Broaddus, who say he raped her. So we can't say that about Trump. You had a porn star who said that they had consensual sex, right, 10 years ago. Yeah. And then let's talk about the tape.
I don't understand what the investigation is about myself, because I mean, he paid her for it. What they were trying to do was say, this is this man's character. But the problem that I have with the Democrats in this strategy is that America is immune to that now because of who you just brought up, which was Bill Clinton.
Correct.
Because all of the defense that you did of Bill Clinton, who had similar, if not more, worse allegations against him during his tenure, Democrats fought tooth and nail, and they stayed blindly loyal to him, and still to this day put him on a pedestal. So now you try to come out and say somebody who's already known for being a celebrity and has his own show, The Apprentice. I mean, he's firing people left and right, and he's become he even had a roast on the Comedy Channel. So it's like, who's saying things about Donald Trump that people have not already heard or don't expect of him? You're not going to make him drop down any levels of respect in the public eye because a tape recording comes out that he was not being respectful towards women, because people are already not having that expectation of him. But that's why I believe the Democratic Party needs to shift focus to say, look, this is going to be our policy. In the next 2 years, we're going to focus on this policy. Either the Republicans are on board with us or they're not.
See, and I'm glad you said that.
If they get to that, that's where I think they start gaining respect, they start gaining ground, and they start winning back those 1,300 seats that the Democratic Party lost over Obama's 8 years as president.
But watch this, and I'm glad you said that. I don't believe the Democratic Party even have a clue of what they want to do other than investigate. Because now that they have the House, right, like you said, your big blue tsunami wave, they have the House. They have to now put forth health care because they said they care about health care so much, which they don't. But they have to put together a plan, right? And just like when the Republicans put together that awful plan, everyone can see it and scrutinize it. They also have to put together an infrastructure plan. They also have to put together a tax plan. So it's no more just running their mouth being obstructionist. The time for obstruction is over. Now you have to put up or you have to shut up, right? But what's going to happen is...
the time for obstruction is only over until the Democrats get in power and then it's a Republican's turn, right?
But here's the thing.
Let's not act like it's a one-party deal.
No, but here's the thing. Already, they're not talking about, oh, my God, let's fix health care. What they're saying is we have to investigate. We got to investigate Whitaker. We have to investigate his taxes. We have to investigate Stormy Daniels. We have to investigate
again, this is something
finances.
We agree on.
Right.
We agree that it is a bad strategy for the Democratic Party.
This is your great party.
They should be focusing on things that
party
resonate
of the middle class.
With middle class, working class families, health care, jobs, education, all the things that people really care about. That you saw somebody who was supposed to be a fringe candidate in Bernie Sanders. I was a Bernie Sanders elected delegate, and the thing is why his message resonated with people is because he was talking about the real things people care about. He's not coming in and saying, oh, we're going to investigate so-and-so and we're going to do this and that.
That's true.
He struck a chord, and that's what the Democratic Party didn't understand. And the Republican Party didn't understand about Trump also being that fringe candidate that was not supposed to be the party nominee, is that from two different angles, two different ends of the spectrum, these are people talking about the stuff that everyday people are talking about or want to hear about. And that's what I feel the Democratic Party leadership is off base and they're missing out on.
Well, look at this. Look how the Democrats did Judge Kavanaugh, right? So they immediately assume that he was guilty of a 35-year-old sexual allegation. Whether you believe it or not, right, there was a 414-page report. They interviewed 40 individuals. They tried to interview her parents, refused, and other individuals, right? But you look at the Kavanaugh effect, right? Heidi Heitkamp voted no, lost her seat. You look at Joe Donnell, voted no, lost his seat. Karen McCaskill voted no, lost his seat, right? Was it Lisa Murkowski? I think lost her seat, right? The only one is the one was out in, was it West Virginia?
I don't recall the exact
I think it was West Virginia, where he won. Remember, he voted yes. He called the president and said, I'm going to vote for Kavanaugh. And he was the only one. So that's another example of what the Democrats are doing. You don't hear them talk about Dr. Ford no more. I mean, every last one of those Democratic senators, she is so courageous. She is, I mean, oh, my God, we just love her to death. Now they're silent with Dr. Ford. She's getting death threats, right? They have her life in peril. She can't go back to the school. But I don't see them reaching out, help for her. Where's that same love and compassion they had for her? It went away. You don't even hear them talk about Dr. Ford anymore. They talked about Julie Swetnick. Oh, she's great and compassionate. The one with the 10 grain rapes. You talked about Debbie Ramirez. These individuals now are being referred over to the DOJ for lying. So I think that is what the Democratic Party represents. They want to run with something.
Just because they are doesn't mean they did. That's, I just want to state that just because they're getting investigated by a Trump-run administration doesn't mean they really did that. I mean, I think regardless of how the Kavanaugh vote turned out, I just want to say that I think it is courageous when a woman comes forward, even if it's 30 years later, and says, look, this is what I know about this individual. You and I see this in our own community all the time.
No,
right?
It is.
People we see that, hey, we know so-and-so is like that, but they're saying something different when they're on TV. So it's important for people to speak truth to power regardless of, what the circumstances may be.
But if you're coming out, you have to be credible. You can't bring in your lifelong friend who said they're at a party and boom, it's not true. You can't take one of those lie detector tests right when you leave your grandmother's funeral, right in a hotel, and can't remember who paid for it. You can't say you had double doors because of this incident, come to find out not true. You can't say you're scared to fly and you fly around the world. So if you're going to bring out these accusations, be credible. And you also can't say in 2012 you talked to your psychologist or your psychiatrist and you didn't mention the person's name. Now all of a sudden, right, you don't want to release your reports, but yet you want to be so courageous. So let's be courageous and come out, and women do need to come out, but let's not come out in a way where it looks like it didn't happen. At what point do we call it out? I mean, if it didn't happen, you just now destroy the individual's life. Kids got to go to school, hear about their dads, which might not be true.
I think it speaks to where politics are at in this nation right now, and I think even people that watch our show, that's what they find unique about is that we can talk about an issue and not be at each other's throats.
That's true.
And I think that is really speaks to, regardless of what happened with either party, what really is the truth. And who I believe or not, or who the system believes or not, it really does illustrate and speak to where politics are at now in this nation, to where you can't, every little, it's like, today is 100-year anniversary since World War I ended. Right. It's almost like trench warfare where, you got to spend so much energy to gain an inch. Mm-hmm. And it's just a stalemate where neither side is getting any ground gained. And I think that, that's a metaphor for the politics in this country today. At the end of the day, is it serving the citizens of the country and the people that live here and the people that work and contribute and are raising their families? And I think that's what should be the greater focus.
And that's a good thing you said that to segue into this topic, the propositions, right? I got a few propositions that I'm highly upset at. The first one, as I told everybody about those chickens. Right, I told you.
It passed, right?
It passed. I told you if you pass
but
that.
But Prop 6 failed. I can't believe that.
Let me tell you. I don't know what's wrong with y'all. When you go to the grocery store January 1st, right? Now, the chicken, we got to respect the chicken. We got to respect the cow and the chicken.
We're going to find out, man. It's going to be a good economic, social experiment.
This is going to be crazy. The chicken gets a 4x4, nice living. He gets to have good meals now.
You got to say facts.
Okay, facts.
1 foot by 1 foot.
Oh, okay. Governor Don just corrected me.
Thank you.
The great Governor Don.
He's telling it like it is.
Governor Don is telling it like it is. Okay, what is it? 1 by 4?
1 foot by 1 foot. They get 12 inches by 12 inches.
See?
To live in for their whole life.
Okay, one by one.
And you know what
I think that's too much.
That's too much. That's too much.
But I want to see, is the effect going to be better when I go to Taco Truck and get the chicken tacos across the street?
Right.
They're going to taste better now.
Okay, well, I'm done with my rant about the $10 eggs. I'm going to have to switch to something else.
I'm upset that Prop 6.
I don't understand it. But Prop 6 passed?
No, it failed.
Well, no, they passed.
So we still have to pay the tax.
Right, it passed.
But the fact that you're confused by that?
Oh, yeah, well.
That tells me that's why it failed, because people were confused. They thought they were voting for a tax. They didn't realize they were voting to repeal a tax.
Right, well.
So if you want the negative to happen, which is a positive in perspective, you ought to vote in the negative.
Well, why they do that?
And it was just too many pluses and negatives, man. People got confused.
It's not right. But the best thing, 10 did not pass.
I'm not really happy about that, because obviously happy. I was in support of Prop 10.
Thank y'all for coming to your senses and with the 10.
Well, what that tells me is who voted.
Right.
Renters versus homeowners, because there's a lot of people being affected in areas like Sacramento, San Joaquin, Central Valley that are being, the Bay Area, Los Angeles. People statewide are being affected by these outrageous rent increases.
That's true.
But then when you look at the percentages of the vote on Prop 10, that tells you clearly who's showing up to the polls and who's not.
Well, with that being said, with rent and all that, we got to bring out the Honorable Christina Fugazi to talk
our special guest.
Talk about her great victory.
Let me scoot over.
Okay. And we got some champagne. We know she doesn't drink. She got her special, what is that?
Martinelli Sparkling Cider.
Sparkling Cider. So the sponsor of the champagne is Shop and Go Liquor on March Lane, 1444 March Lane. Coldest beer in town. Great prices, great selections.
Wait, just coldest beer. We just want to say that's their
slogan.
That's their slogan.
That's their slogan. Governor Dodge, he's on us again. Governor, he's watching it. So the coldest beer in town is their slogan. So we don't want to say that's true, because we don't want to get in trouble with Governor Dodge. He's already given us the bad winks. So, oh man, he's telling like it is tonight. So we're gonna celebrate her victory. We went to her after party. Was it after party? What do you call it? After party?
Election night.
Oh, it's an after party, right?
Yeah,
election one.
You
want this? You want this over it? Put that over it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't.
We got professionals in the house here. Hope we don't lose no hours.
Woo!
Oh, okay. There we go.
There we go.
You got the opener?
Yep. You got to be prepared.
Yeah.
Mine's got a little something.
Oh, there's something in it. Okay. It's apple cider. We had one for Governor Don, but he don't want to drink on the air neither, so we don't. He don't want to drink on the air.
You guys, your drinks are pink.
Oh man, yeah. Well, okay, listen. So not only is it pink, this is for breast awareness. Breast awareness. This is what it's for.
Okay.
We're representing breast awareness.
It's always a
Salud.
good time to represent. Salud. Congratulations. That's some good champagne.
Okay. So, Ms. Fugazi.
Yes.
We have to get into this. You know, I've seen a lot of campaign ads run against you, right? And to me, it seems like in your district had a lot of hate going out towards you and your family. You know, I don't really like people attacking people, especially their families. I mean, you want to attack their policies is one thing, but attack individuals personally, I think that's kind of low, no matter who's doing it. So, but I really commend you for how you conduct yourself. You didn't really go out and you didn't attack negative with negative. You stood tall, and so I want to commend you for that. But how did you feel about just being attacked from your other colleagues? You know, how did that, and especially, and you're your school teacher. So now you got parents, and so it's not just about the city council, because it affects your job, the way you make money, the way that parents look at you, the way students look at you. So kind of, can you tell us, like, how did you feel? Or
Well, I mean, I knew something was coming. Okay. I mean, it's silly season, so you have to realize that the potential for people to, you know, come out with negative ads are there.
Right.
But when I tried to predict how they were going to come at me,
right,
I had no idea that they were going to come at me, you know, through my profession as a teacher.
Correct.
And then coming at me with my name.
Correct.
I mean, that was really tough for me.
Right.
And as for the videos, you know, calling me a liar,
right,
I've always been very open and transparent. You know, I in my first video, that's where they were saying, oh, I voted no on Measure A, but I explained why I voted no on Measure A. I wanted it to be a restricted tax. I wanted it specifically to go to public safety.
Okay.
And so to cut out a little snippet.
Can you explain what Measure A is, in case of viewers that don't know what
Okay.
Measure A is? Explain what Measure A is and why you voted the way you voted.
Right. So back in 2013, there was a special election.
Okay.
And it was only to increase or to put a tax on the public because we had 71 murders and we're looking at, you know, funding police. But it also was to pay down our debt with the bankruptcy.
So was this in Stockton or San Joaquin?
No, just Stockton.
Just
It was
okay, everything's rated to Stockton.
Three-quarter set sales tax.
Okay.
And what did we have? 22% people vote. 21% showed up.
Yeah,
It was
I don't
a very
even think
small.
it was that.
It was a very small amount of people that came out to vote for it, and it passed. Measure B, which was the complementary part to that, which was supposed to be the oversight.
Okay.
Not advisory. It was changed later to be advisory, but initially it was supposed to be the oversight committee for it. Passed at a higher rate.
Okay.
And so this money was to go to restoring city services, paying down our debt, and then 65% towards public safety.
Measure A.
Measure A.
Okay, so then why did you vote at that time no for it?
Because it was going into the general fund.
Okay, so it wasn't going to, it wasn't allocated to what it was saying.
Right, and even though they said it would be audited, sure enough, comes back later, oops, it goes into the general fund.
We can't audit it.
We can't audit it.
I've been at those meetings and I've heard it myself.
Okay.
So my thing was, on my platform voting, or during the election, was I said that my job, my number one job, is to make sure that that money goes where the public was promised that money would go.
Okay.
And so my voting record speaks for itself on that, making sure that it goes there. So they came up with this mission critical fund.
Okay.
And part of the money in Measure A was going to upgrading sprinklers when we were in a drought, when we weren't even running the sprinklers.
So why would we upgrade sprinklers when we're in a drought? Does that make sense?
So I voted no, and people were like, "Oh, you voted no." I said, "Yeah, because that's not the money going where it was supposed to." But then they come back and say, "Well, this is the ramp-up period, so it's actually we're going to have more money go to other things than public safety." And so I've always stood very firm that public safety, public safety, public safety.
Right.
That's where that money needs to go.
So, before you make your decisions, right, to me, you know, I've seen you on city council. It seems like you read through whatever policy it is. It don't seem like you just base your vote based on what the other council member does. It seems like you really read and you assess it, and then if it's best for your district and if it's best for Stockton, then you make your yes or no. Is it based on that, or how do you really do your policies, and how do you vote, base your votes on?
So there's a lot of things that come into play. We get our you know, agenda Thursday night.
Okay.
You know, I'm a teacher, so as soon as I can, I briefly peruse it. I just scan through it. Then during the weekend, I will set aside 3 to 4 hours to review every item on the agenda. Now I'm doing Council Members Digest, so I'm actually doing it sooner because I want to report out to the people what are the items on the agenda and how can they participate in that. Because you think about it, the public, I mean, we have 315,000. If you count the county pockets, we're looking at 370,000, 380,000 people in Stockton.
Okay.
But I want them to be active participants. I don't want them to be apathetic. But if I share with them what's on the agenda, something might spark their interest.
Right.
And then they say, hey, this is how I feel about this. So I always say, please contact me or your council representative and let them know how you feel about these. And my hashtag is show up, stand up, speak up. And so a lot of people reach out to me and say, oh, no, this shouldn't happen, or, oh, I'm in full support of that. Because remember, I'm a representative of the people.
Right.
And so I don't answer to staff. I don't answer to my fellow council members. I answer to the public, the people that voted me into office. And the last election, or the 2014 election, the entire city had an opportunity to vote for me.
That's correct.
This election was just my district.
Right.
And while I have spent countless hours working on items in my district, I mean, heck, I showed up to a meeting when I was sicker than a dog. I hadn't eaten for 5 days because there was Victory Park on the agenda, there was the water feature at Weber Point, and there was the marina.
Wow.
And people said, or the mailer said, I failed District 5. What do you mean? I'm showing up to meetings. I haven't missed a meeting.
Was that the meeting that you fainted at the beginning?
Yes.
That to me, that's dedication. Like,
because
she
there was
showed
no
up
way.
sick and fainted at the beginning of the meeting, and it was in the headline. I recall that. I wasn't at that meeting, but I remember that occurring. And I think from my perspective, when those negative ads aimed at attacking you and misleading the public on your record and your intentions, etc., I think in many ways they actually helped you because they backfired when people were aware already of seeing you out there doing things, of all the things they could attack you on. They attacked you on things that people already knew not to be true. Right. And so I think that's why they did not resonate with people, and they, if anything, may have helped you unintentionally. And I think, you know,
well, that's why I said
that's
check
a lesson
my record.
to be learned. Yeah, because people can check the record.
Go through my news feed on my Facebook page. I said, check it all the way back to 2008. I've been working in the community long before I ever was even, you know, considering running for office. I was on the planning commission.
Right.
But when I make my decisions, I want to hear. I go through that staff report. I ask questions. I ask questions before. When I get the agenda, I will share those with the city manager. Can you please get back to me on these items that I have questions on? And I go, but the public has questions too. And sometimes they don't bring them up until that day or that night.
Now let me ask you this about the public, right? Because I know you're busy. You're a school teacher. You're also a city council person, man, woman. I don't know how you say it. Can the public reach out to you? Are you like accessible? I mean, if they call you, can they make office hours? Or if they have concerns like in your district or even outside your district? I mean, how can they get a hold of you if they really want to know what's going on?
Right. So my email address is out there, christina.fugazi@stocktonca.gov.
Okay.
A lot of people have called me at school because they know they can reach me in that through that method. But most people reach to me on social media. I had somebody when I was walking my district and knocking on doors in one of the precincts that said, Christina, I went to City Hall trying to meet with you, and they said, oh, your office hours are online. I go, well, they are, but you could have left your name and number, and I would have got back to you. So I have Florence Lowe, who is the assistant to all the council members.
Okay.
And every time she sends me an email or a text message, I call those people back. because there's just no way. You went so far as to look up the number and call. I am going to call you back, and I try to do it within 24 hours.
Okay.
To call them
And
back.
I think that's what people see, and I think people share those experiences, and I think that's why people respect you. And so, I have to agree with Jerome on this in him noting that this has been one of the most negative kind of campaign seasons that we've seen that was really one-sided, right to the point where and how did you feel when they even went so low as to attack your family name by basically citing the Urban Dictionary of all things, the Urban Dictionary, right? Like that's
we're talking about Don over here cracking up laughing.
We're talking about where politics.
You can see Governor Don right now.
We're talking about where politics have gone in this nation, but let's look at it on a local level, right?
Yeah.
It's to the point where we had a candidate, her opponent, send out a flyer which costs each one of those flyers, between print and postage, cost
and
between
graphic design
$4,000 to $5,000 a pop.
That's true.
On an economic side, so that's the economy budget price. And so how did you feel to see this flyer come out? Because I know a lot of the feedback that I got and when I saw it, what I thought, but I just looked at that and said, man, they've really gone so desperate that they're literally putting things out there, citing the Urban Dictionary of all things. It's like, what's next? World Star?
Well, I wanted to know which edition, because in the Urban Dictionary,
I think it was made up,
actually
is what it
has
was.
the band.
Oh,
There's a
right.
band called Fugazi.
Yes.
So actually, in the Urban Dictionary that I looked at, it had the band.
Okay.
And so I've been to New York City. It's a very local term. If you've seen Donnie Brasco, if you've seen Wolf of Wall Street, and it's called a fugazi, and it's in a couple videos. But guess what?
It's called the what?
A couple rap songs.
No, they're called the Fugazis, right?
Fugazi.
Not the Fugazi.
Not the Fugazi.
Fugazi, Fugazi.
So, but I'm like, how disrespectful is that to my grandmother, my grandfather, my great grandparents? I mean, let's go all the way back to Italy. I mean, that's just. I'm just like, man, how low can you go? And so I'm like, hold me back, but I'm not doing it because my students. So here's the deal: these videos are on social media;
Correct.
they're getting promoted.
Right.
My kids, their
A lot of
parents
money
live in
put
my
into it
district.
as well.
They're getting the mailers. My student came in and she's like, Miss Fugazi, did you see what we got in the mail? And she threw it down and she was upset and she wanted to lash out. And I told her, listen, mija, you can't be doing that.
Okay.
You know, I said.
So Spanish, huh?
Yeah, sorry.
No,
So,
that's good.
I was like,
Italian and Spanish, huh?
Yeah.
We're bilingual here.
We're bilingual in this house.
But I said, listen, we can't be doing that because she
Right.
was so filled with anger and hate at that moment.
Right.
And I said, listen, we got to come together. And I said, and the only way we can do that is we got to push truth. And I feel like truth will always prevail. And my dad has always said, honesty is the best policy. So I said, listen, I'm just going to talk about, and I've said this from the get-go, what do I bring to the table? And what are the things that I've worked on and have really focused my concentration on, and transparency has always been number one. When I went through the first time, I didn't make promises like I'm going to reduce crime by 30%.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody that says that is off their rocker, in my opinion. But I said the things that I would, which is bring process, be inclusive, be fair, and, those are the things that I did. And so I just said, I have to model for my students how to react in this. And they didn't see me get upset in class.
That's good.
I did not let them see it. But I will tell you, at home, I had the ugly cry. I had snot coming out my nose.
I got to ask you this, too, because I seen the video, and they had you at Swenson Golf Course, right? And they said you care about Swenson versus your own district. To me...
Which to me was another low blow.
No, a low blow,
knew
but
better than that.
That's a whole city issue.
But to me, I looked at it like, you know what? She cares so much about Swenson that's not even in her district, right? She cares about her district, and she cares about other districts. So, she's trying to say something that the city needs, because there's only 2 public golf courses in Stockton, and Van Buskers. You know how that course is. So you really have Elkhorn, and you have Swenson, which is affordable because the reserve,
executive
$45.
course is $10.
Yeah,
at Swenson.
So to me, to see you out there fighting,
And you're a golfer, right?
I'm a golfer, I'm a heavy
And I'm a
golfer.
golfer.
So I just want to let the viewers know you're talking from experience.
I'm talking from experience because I used to golf at Swenson. So to me, you're out there fighting to save Swenson, it's really good because it does affect people in your district who do golf, right? Who don't want to join the Brookside Country Clubs.
But it's not even about golf for me primarily.
Right.
I mean, this is a community asset
Correct.
on an environmental basis.
Right.
And to think about, I sit on the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control Board.
Okay.
And so that is huge. I mean, we're talking about our air pollution and the fact that if you were to take out that green space in the kind of
to build up homes.
You know, it's not in
Who wants
the
to build
middle
homes?
of our city, but you know, it's in the core of our city.
Right, to build up homes, right?
Yeah, and to cover with pavement and asphalt and concrete, and I mean, I just had to sit there and say to myself, how can this be good? Because it also would impact Lincoln Unified. Traffic is
Big time.
already
It's already
a
bad.
bear to
Right.
get there, and you want to put 900 homes? I mean,
Ca-
come on now.
And that's one issue I had. And then also the biggest issue about the homeless, right? How they came at you. So
Don't
explain
even
because
get
they
me
said
started.
no. I want you to explain because they said that you don't attend no meetings. So is that true or not true, or just explain on it? What's the real truth?
First of all,
Yes.
the meetings
Tell
are
it like it is.
At
Tell it
9
like it is.
The meetings are at 9 a.m. on Thursday.
Okay.
I'm teaching biology at 9 a.m.
You hear
on,
that? Teaching
on
biology.
Thursdays. Okay. I'm teaching about these health and safety issues that are in our community. But guess what? There are no council members that go to these meetings. Our representative is Florence Lowe from the city manager's office.
Okay.
And now it's Micah Runner. So I went through every single meeting list of minutes of who was in attendance.
Okay.
There wasn't any council member.
So no council member
Right.
has attended these meetings.
No.
So when they attacked you, what
Yeah.
were they doing? Just going low,
Yeah,
right?
But guess what?
Right.
I'm not about talking. I'm about walking. And so you want to talk about the problem? Okay, I'm not going to stand in your way. You find those long-term solutions. But guess what? I am out there. I have done numerous feedings. I have done numerous cleanups, haircuts for the homeless, Arch Break Day at the Stockton Shelter for the homeless. I mean, I'm out there.
And I think that's one of those other examples where it backfired on your opponent because people had already seen you very regularly
Check
being
my
out.
record.
You know, they knew what was what, and so when those attack ads came out, I think this time, and a big reason was because of social media that people were able to see videos of you already out there before these attack
The
ads came out.
Hyacinth. I mean, let's look at that too.
You were out there in
You
a
know?
canoe, right?
Who
You
would
were out
do
there
that
like
for
in
a
a
publicity
homemade
stunt?
canoe, picking up hyacinths from
covered
the
in
channel.
green algae.
So when they came out with that ad, I just thought to myself, how ridiculous, right? It's
Calling me an opportunist. I just show up for photo ops.
Yeah.
Right.
There's better ways to get photo ops, by the way.
I'm like, man.
That's a lot of
I'm
effort
there
to
from
get some likes on
beginning to
Instagram.
end.
So as it relates to the homeless, right? Is there a plan for the homeless in the district, in your district as well, in the city? Because and I don't know if they would do this, but I see the Terry Hotel that's there, and I think the city owns the Terry Hotel. How come they don't open something up there on these abandoned buildings for the homeless? Instead, I know you guys don't like Trump, being you guys hardcore Democrats, and you don't like that building of the wall, but yet Caltrans built that wall and kicked the homeless out.
That wasn't a wall. That was a gate.
What was it?
It was a gate.
That was a wall.
And it's already torn down.
They built that wall.
It's
So,
already torn
but I'm just
down,
saying,
man.
but as it relates to the Terry Hotel and other buildings that the city
I like
owns,
how you try to.
What can we do to put the homeless in there?
Okay.
Or
So those are, it's a great jumping off point because we really haven't had in-depth conversations at the council level.
Correct.
We've allocated funds. We did the program with Caltrans to hire. Right now, it's 8 people.
and they
eight
built that
people
wall,
for
right?
cleanup.
Caltrans the one that built the wall to kick the homeless out.
Yeah. Well, it's a gated community.
Oh yeah, they
So,
built the wall. Gated.
So
They built the wall. Oh, my
but
God.
here's the deal.
That's called spin.
there-
That's called spin doctrine, ladies and
Oh,
gentlemen.
man, they built the wall out there. Go look out there. You see that wall's built.
There are some short-term things that we can do to at least alleviate some of the conditions, in my opinion.
Okay.
I worked with Downtown Stockton Alliance on the pit stop. Now, when the council had $1.75 million to spend, instead, they chose to spend it elsewhere. I kept coming back. These are our priorities. I printed out the council priorities. Crime, blight, homelessness. Those were at the top. I said, how is a $650,000 scoreboard addressing our priorities? Oh,
I recall.
it's
Yeah.
not. It's not.
Right.
But I'm,
But these were the same people saying You didn't show up to a meeting.
Yeah,
Well, that you were responsible for the homeless problem.
So this is how I'm approaching it now.
The homeless, okay.
So I'm going to have a feeding, volunteering at St. Mary's. I'm going to invite the other council members to come join me for that. I'm going to invite them to come downtown and walk with me. I'm going to invite them to be part of the solution instead of just putting our heads in the sand and acting like it's not there.
Okay.
Because it's affecting all of us. And we talked about that, not at at the last meeting afterwards, because of the number of people that are saying it's in Brookside, it's up in, it's at Trinity
now
Park.
in Stockton.
It's everywhere.
I'm born and raised here. I've never seen it this bad. The homeless problem here in Stockton right now.
But we all have to just like with anything, we have to acknowledge that, yes, this is an issue.
Okay.
And then we have to be focused and willing to make the decisions in order to take those steps necessary.
So to me, I look at it like this, okay? You know the restaurant that's downtown with French 25, but before that they had 2 other restaurants that failed, right? And the city gave them money to come here, right?
I wasn't there here.
I'm not saying you was there, but they gave them money to come here.
Right.
So
Just
if they really
like
care
Neil
about
Diamond,
about the homeless, they could have took that same money.
Oh yeah.
And they could have fixed up one of the buildings that they own downtown. If you really care about the homeless, they could have fixed it up. At least they would have had a place to sleep instead of sleeping on the streets, defecating on the streets.
At least public restrooms that are accessible.
Or put something out there.
And we had a proposal. Okay. So there is the motel on the corner of Acacia and El Dorado in my district, kitty corner from Eden Square, Eden Park. And Shirley, the owner of that, I introduced her to then Mayor Silva to work on something because there's 100 units there, 2 beds, their own shower, their own bathroom.
Is that many units there?
100 units.
Oh, the one that's abandoned right now, right?
Well,
there?
it's not abandoned.
It looks like it's abandoned.
Yeah.
The one they had inside after All Lives Matter.
There's kitchen facilities. There's meeting space. The thing is the idea wasn't fleshed out enough, and you had individuals from the community-based organizations who said, and I'm not going to name names, but there were people that came out that said, this would be even worse if we opened that up to homeless. You would be exacerbating the problem. You wouldn't be helping them. But guess what? I feel like it was because of who it was coming from instead of us really fleshing out the idea. Because my idea was this. Here we have a place. You bring services to them. You bring the social workers there. You bring substance abuse workers there. You bring mental health there.
I like that.
You bring it there. So, and we pool the money together. So we have CDBG money. If we were able to pool that money together to get it up and operational, and then we bring the county services in there.
So, I like what you just said. So basically what you're saying, what I've just heard you, if you bring the homeless, let's say, to that area, Acacia and El Dorado, right? And let's say it got approved, that you would bring services to them. You would bring social services there. You'll bring mental health. So they're not just living there for free. No. You're actually providing a service. So it's not like you're saying, look, all the homeless come here, eat free. There's things they have to do to even stay there, right? So they have to attend these things. So are you trying to transition them?
And we could do job training there.
So that's the thing. So it's the idea to say, okay, I know you're homeless, and we don't know what your situation may have been, right? We don't know why you're here or whatever it is. Well, let's get you the help you need, right? And then from getting the help you need, let's try to kind of get you back into society, right? So where you can get your apartment, function in society. So you're not just saying, hey, come for free, but we're going to put you on a program. And we're trying to.
And there are rules, just like there are in society.
I like that.
And there are individuals that we all talk about housing first. Okay, well here's a housing possibility, and then we can work on those other issues that are going on. But there are families out there. I mean, there are fathers with their kids, or mothers with their kids, or entire families with children. I don't think that that's where they want to be. Right. And if we were able to offer them a safe, clean place to live
and services
I would think they would jump at the opportunity. We have we don't have an accurate count of how many, but go ahead, drive down Weber. Drive. I mean, there are these little pockets. I mean, there are plenty of places you can drive along Hammer. I mean,
under the freeway because that wall went up.
Yep. And anywhere along the slough. Now, there are some people that have been homeless for years.
Right.
It's going to be a long journey to reintroduce them into society. And they think what they're doing now is working for them, because I've talked to them, and they say,
there's some people that's
say,
their
I'm
lifestyle
good.
choice.
They say I'm good.
That's their freedom.
Yeah.
They want to do what they want to do.
I think because there's nowhere to go anyway. So it's not like how Ms. Fugazi's saying that if they have a place to go to and they can get these services that they need. They're out there. There is no services now. They might can go to a couple places to get a meal. But other than that, there's no one out there offering them services. There's no one saying, okay, if you come here, we're gonna have you talk to a counselor. We're gonna try to get you a job placement. We're gonna even try to work on your skills. Some of them might be at 3rd, 4th grade level. Let's try to work, where you're at. They're not saying that. They're just saying, here's a free meal. Here's a free meal. So now you get used to it. If you're used to setting your tent up, fishing all day, or whatever you're doing, right? Walking the streets.
And part of the challenge is, what time? Oh, I got an appointment downtown at HSA at 3 o'clock. I don't know what time it is.
They don't have a watch.
And where's HSA again? Or, where am I supposed to be? What street is that on? So that's why I'm saying we have to bring it to them. We have to have,
so
as long as you're here, we'll bring it to you.
And so let me ask you this. Can they get this? Because this is Tell Like It Is. Because I know you both for Democrats. Can they get an Obama phone that we pay for?
Let's do a new one. Let's do Trump watches.
Oh, my God.
Let's do, tell Trump, start giving some watches.
Do they get a free Obama phones? I mean, we pay for them.
Their point
at least if I'm paying for one of my taxes, they should get their free Obama phone, and they can have the internet, right?
But guess what? Where are they going to charge it?
That's a good question. Ain't they charging outlets downtown?
They're going to Starbucks. They're going to McDonald's.
Yeah, they go
right
to
across
McDonald's.
from the movie theater,
Right,
in the pole,
right,
where they take the wires out, so the lights
So there's
don't
no
work.
excuse because they can get that free Obama phone that we pay
Actually,
for.
where the Vietnam Memorial is.
Right. I mean, I know you guys like that free Obama phone.
I've never had one. I can't say I've never had one.
But here's the deal.
Okay.
Is like, if you're asking somebody who doesn't have the coping mechanisms or the mental stability in order to arrange their calendar. I mean, if you looked on my phone, my calendar is packed every day, just about every minute.
Yeah.
Tremaine asked me in the morning, what's on your schedule today? And blah, 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 blah. When are you going to be home? Like last night, I won't be home till after 10, which I wasn't because I was doing a Lebanese dinner. My students were the volunteers.
Wow.
And so I'm like, every day I have a schedule. Now, can you imagine if you're not used to doing a schedule, what that would be like? I mean, look at teenagers. Man, they go on summer vacation, and then school comes back up, and they're like, oh, I got to get up now in the morning, and I got to go to school.
And you know what? And they'll be depressed like you if they're wearing that Dallas Cowboys jersey.
Hey, how's my team doing?
Because you know what? They're not looking too good. I mean, I thought Dak was the future, but if you're wearing that, I know why they're depressed right now, too. That's why they were depressed.
I have been a fan since, like, the days of Tony Dorsett, Hollywood Henderson, Danny White, Too Tall Jones.
So she a real fan.
Okay, so you're not a bandwagon.
No, and Landry, who I'm
you go back, you old school.
So
when he was with Green Bay. And then he came to Dallas. So I mean, I go way back.
So let's transition back to your elected position. What are your, now that for the next 4 years, term limits are 2 terms. Right. So the first 4 years, people, even if it's in the back of their mind, are always worrying about, okay, you know what? I want to run for re-election, but I gotta watch the snipers, any little misstep, right?
That was my mistake. I didn't watch for them.
The snipers.
So now that you're in there, right? You have 4 years to go. You don't have to worry about the haters and the political games, at least. Well, you always got to worry about that, I guess, right? But not to the same.
Get cut off or something.
Not to the same extent.
Maybe I get to
what
do
are
the
your
pledge
what are your goals? What are going to be your goals and your priorities going forward for your district and how that pertains to the city?
Well, first and foremost is the conversation we just had, is getting some consensus on the council to actually allocate the funds and to flesh out the ideas to adequately address it, because we haven't.
You're referring to homelessness, correct?
Homeless, yes. Definitely, the people around Victory Park are very passionate about their park and the pool, and it's actually the largest used park in the city of Stockton. And so making sure that the recreation is there for our community, as well as Weber Point, getting that up and running as well. But there are a lot of issues. I mean, there are streets
water
I want.
feature there. The water feature at Weber.
Yeah, but there are streets, and I know you guys said, Prop 6, but I'm actually happy that we have Prop 6. And I'm not embarrassed to say it. I sit on the Rail Commission, and I know what the condition is for our roads and the number of people that we have going over the hill. Right. And I'm going to pull a filibuster here, and I'm going to keep speaking before I get interrupted. But if you drive down Park or Oak, which are two of the main roadways into and out of downtown Stockton, the potholes are abundant. Buena Vista is horrible. I have to get an alignment on my car regularly. I've popped tires. I've almost got whiplash from hitting some potholes. Our sidewalks are out of control. I've had people take diggers. I'm talking about not just senior citizens, but me as an adult walking during my campaign, looking at the next house I was going to, hitting a broken sidewalk and going face first down onto the sidewalk. And I'm like, I'm pretty agile, but I just sit here and I think that we can't be living, and I always give Councilwoman Lenz this credit, is that she said, we're out of bankruptcy, but we still look like a bankrupt city.
That's true.
We have to want more for ourselves, because you can't expect people to treat this city better by not littering, by making sure that they clean up after themselves, they take care of their properties. Yeah. You can't do that if the city themselves isn't willing to do that. I mean, we have properties that are falling down, that are in disarray, that have weeds all over them. You look at the fire station out on Fresno that has been closed. It looks awful. We need to reopen that fire station. Our fire department goes on more calls. I think it's second in the nation for calls for service. I mean, and they're running all day, every day. And we've got an empty fire station. I think that's unacceptable.
Especially with arson being up so much in the last couple years.
So there's a lot of needs, and I'm going to be working. Unfortunately, I work on a lot of things. I'm a multitasker. I'm ADHD, and so I'm happy about that because it gives me the energy to deal with it. And yes, Mr. Clay, what is your point?
Let me go because okay. This is why I was against Prop 6. So it's not that I'm against the tax. They're gonna get the tax, but they're not gonna put the money to the road. So I might say I'm against something, not because not that I don't support it, but I know the money's not going to go to where it's supposed to be used. So you're right. The roads are bad. I mean, I live in Brookside, and the roads are horrible there. So let's say we tax in Stockton, and yet if they don't put the money to where it's supposed to go,
it's kind of like Measure A is what you're talking.
Right.
Kind of like Measure A.
Well, but this is the way that I read it. Is that's the only place that it can go, including rail. So rail. ACE is going to be going all the way up to Sacramento Metro International Airport. It's going to be going all the way down to Merced. It's going to be cutting over. I mean, we're looking at some connecting directly to BART as opposed to having to get on a bus or a shuttle to get there.
If they do that, I'm all for it. My whole thing, why I was against it, was because, they taxed us.
You thought it was going to be a bait and switch?
Bait and switch. Mm-hmm. That's the only reason why.
I get that. And guess what? People are not trustworthy. And they have every right not to be trustworthy because it has happened before. But I have to think, that tax, when it was first initiated way back when, it wasn't indexed. Well, the price of materials and labor have gone up. I'm sorry to say, you can't use that same pot of money to do all the work that we need in this state. Right. And in our city in particular, I mean, people that have back problems, do you know that people purposely avoid streets in this city because they have back problems, because they know that the streets are so poor?
Now, you go in that, because I know, you said you walk and you start tumbling down the road, right? I'm glad you didn't sue the city. Thank you that you didn't sue the city, because I don't want my taxes to go up. But that is serious. So let's say someone, as other kids are playing and their kids get hurt, could the city be in potential lawsuit for this?
Oh yeah. So if a tree falls on somebody's car,
right?
Yeah, they.
You went tumbling. Let's say
somebody wants to go there on that. Yeah, they could. We got sued for our Measure A accounting records by an accountant in town, and the city attorney said, "Yeah, you're right. We didn't spend the money, like we said. We just transferred it from one account to another."
Oh wow.
As was suspected.
Yeah, so
and that's when you voted no on.
Yeah.
So now you understand why I voted no on Prop 6. what you just said right there. So you're gonna tell like it is.
I get that, but like I said, the agency that I sit on, that money is going to allow people to get out of their cars and into safe, reliable transportation through rail.
Okay.
And we have a number of people that go over the hill trying to get more money.
That's true.
So they can live here.
Right.
There takes time away from their families.
Right.
There is invariably an accident every single day.
Right.
It's just a matter of time before it's you.
Especially with these roads. You know.
But I mean, and then Tracy is supposed to be developing 2,000 acres with 36,000 employees and thousands of trucks every day. I don't want to be anywhere near Tracy, California, just to be honest with you.
They're having their own issues right now.
Yeah, well, we won't go there. But we're just talking about Stockton here.
Right.
But I want to make sure that our residents have a safe way to get to and from work. That's it, period. And we're talking about $500.5 million coming here.
Fix the roads.
To help with. This is with rail specifically.
Okay, with rails, okay.
But our budget that we approved, Gordon McKay ran down all the numbers and said we won't be able to fix X, Y, and Z if SB 1 gets repealed. And thankfully it didn't. So I said, thank you so much. Now let's put it on steroids. Let's hire some people and let's get the job done.
Okay.
Because that's more jobs. So let's get the job done.
Right. So I know Motek has a burning, itching desired question to ask you because he's been lighting up on his 209 times. So I know he's been waiting, and I know he got about 4 of them mimosas in him.
Pinky's up.
See, Pinky's up. So we're waiting on your...
No, so I mean, following on this conversation, obviously you just prevailed against a very tough re-election. Politics in the city are the way that they are. The issues are what they are. Your opposition that seems to be a unified front involving multiple council members and board of supervisors came against you, and you prevailed. So, cheers to that, right?
Yeah,
Again,
cheers.
salute.
Salute.
And with saying that, a lot of people are asking the next logical question or request, shall we say. They want to see you run for mayor in 2020.
Oh, there it is. I know he had to do it. He just had to put her on blast.
209 times.
You in Tell It Like It Is
209 times put out a poll last.
You in the Tell It Like It Is studio. You heard it live and direct.
Have my bruises gone away?
Like it is.
Hey, you know what it remind me of? Remember, you see Rocky?
Yes.
Remember, they're both in the hospital.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, man, you didn't get me. He's like, I want the rematch.
Yeah. Him and Apollo.
You ain't gotta wait for the bruises to go away.
Yeah,
People want to know already. What is round
it's
2
kinda
going to
like it
be
is.
2020, right? And so I wanted to just put that on, ask you personally, because we're here telling it like it is. That is already what people are talking about literally as soon as the results came in.
And we won't filibuster this question.
No. And
it's all
yours. On 209 times, I will say, now it's not a scientific poll, but there's a poll out on 209 times. It's running for a few more days. It has the most votes that I've ever seen on any poll on 209 times. And they posed that theoretical question.
Right.
And let me just say that a previous poll was done that had the record votes for that page, which was 1,100 votes, about have you seen the city of Stockton improve in the last few years. I think it was like I want to say like a 65-35 split, right? When the theoretical question was posed, you running for mayor against the incumbent, 94% of the respondents said they would vote for you. And that surprises a lot of people as far as the lopsidedness of the expectations, or maybe rather what people want to see or expect from their government. And I think you being here, communicating a lot of things that you have, you fought very hard for Fair Oaks to reopen. They see you out there hands-on in the channel, cleaning up garbage, cleaning up the Mormon slough, asking the tough questions, even though you're in the minority during city council meetings, feigning during meetings, showing up to every public event under the sun, so people, I think, have your work and your efforts have not gone unnoticed. So that being said, what do you think about that?
Well, I would just like to say that, this last election was personally very hurtful and brutal to me. And to think that of another election just 2 years from now, I I've never been through childbirth except when I was born.
Okay.
But I think, like somebody who goes through it and then you see the baby and it like wipes it away. No, it doesn't. You still know it. You still know it hurt like hell. Okay. And so, I'm
Mothers to election.
I am, and you're saying, stay away from me. Don't touch me ever again. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. I really want to focus on the work. I want to focus on collaboration with my fellow council members. I want to support the mayor on his good ideas. You bring me a good idea, I want to support you on that good idea, because guess what? It helps our city as a whole then. So bring in those good ideas and let me support you and work with you. I want to work as part of the team. I'm tired of being on an island. I'm tired of being ostracized. I'm tired of being treated badly. I want to work with you. And if you can't see that, then we're all losing in the whole discussion. I mean, I can't say it any other way. And I love being a teacher. I invite you. You've been to my school. I invite you to come to my class.
I came to the mock trial.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to take you down.
Yeah, it ain't going to happen. But sorry to burst your bubble on that one. But anyway, check the record. Okay. We're a dynasty.
Tell it like it is.
But I mean, I love my students. And, you think people think I'm going to be the answer. You know what? The answer is in all of us. The answer is in all of us, as my hashtag says, show up, stand up, speak up, and then put your money where your mouth is, and you come out there and roll up your sleeves and work with me. I'm not asking you to work for me. I'm asking you to work with me side by side. And if we can all do that and put aside our personalities, I don't like you or what?
Put aside our political differences.
Yeah.
That's right.
Because we can all agree on certain things.
That's right.
I mean, you're tired of having to see the state of our city. You're tired of saying, well, let's work together. It doesn't matter if you're red, you're blue, you're purple, you're orange, whatever. Come on now. Because my grandma Fugazi used to say,
not Fugazi, whatever you called it?
Fugazi.
Okay.
No, Fugazi.
Okay.
Used to say, many hands make for light work.
She was Republican, wasn't she?
So,
you know what? I'll tell you this. At the next GOP convention, we're gonna recruit you.
But guess what?
You're talking our language right now.
My grandmother, she let anybody in her house. She would give people a place to stay. She'd feed them. She'd get them a job so they could get back on their feet. And so I learned a lot from my grandmother, and I loved her. And she was the first female manager for Woolworth Company. They flew her to Honolulu, Hawaii. I mean, she was a go-getter with only an 8th grade education, but she was sharp. She had a mind for math, for numbers. Oh, she was amazing. And I love her, to death. I wish she was still here. But she would have said, you know what, I told you should have learned to cook and clean. That's why you never got married.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
She was telling it like it is?
She was telling it like it is.
She would. She would.
Tell it like it is was a show.
She would say, Mavakaga.
But you know what? I do got to respect the fact that even though you're not going to tell us you're going to run for mayor or not, the simple fact that you're willing to put aside what happened to you during the campaign to say, I want to work with the mayor, I want to work with the city council members, let's make Stockton better, right? Let's make Stockton great so when people come to Stockton or people who live in Stockton can say, I'm from Stockton, and people are not laughing at us, like, oh, that's the murder capital of the world. So I really commend you to, even after all this, you could have came on and said, yeah, I'm going to run and I'm going to do this. But you said, you know what? No. I'm going to focus on, my district. I'm going to focus on the city. And I'm going to focus on working with the mayor when he brings me good ideas. I'm going to focus on working with city councils when they bring me good ideas. And let's stop all the bickering and let's come together. Because I truly believe if you guys come together in city council, right, really come together as a really cohesive body, that we can make Stockton better. Because you have good ideas, they have good ideas, and that's what it's about. It's about putting your political differences aside, like me and Motec, right? Republican, Democrat. We put it aside and let's talk. Right? There's something we can agree on, and let's get to that, and let's build upon that and make Stockton better. And I really do commend you for saying that, and that really not bashing your opponents, taking the high road, because your students, they're going to look up to you, and they probably do look up to you, and you're setting an example for them, right? So if you can get bashed publicly and you don't retaliate, even though you might say things at home, but they don't see it, and even now, this is for the world to see, right? And you're not bashing your opponents. That's something your students can say, wow, well, what if my teacher for God can do this, then I can do it. Right. If somebody at school talks about me, I could take the high road. Like, Michelle Obama, when they go low, we go high. Mm-hmm. I really believe in that. When they go low, we go high. We don't kick them, but we go high. So, right. I mean, that's...
What if it's a jump kick?
We don't kick them. We go high. You went high. You didn't go low. You didn't kick them.
But here's the bottom line is I'm not capable of controlling what other people say or do.
Right.
But I am in control of what I say or do.
I like that.
And guess what? It's a reflection of not only myself, but it's a reflection of my family. It's a reflection of my students, my school, and my community. So I don't feel like I had any other choice. Is that I always have to take the high road. And while that high road isn't very busy, there aren't any traffic jams up there. I don't mind because we got good roads.
I think your grandmother would be very proud of you.
Very
I
proud,
know,
yes.
we're very proud of you, and thank you for being our guest today and for your continued commitment to the community. Is there anything else you would like to offer? That you have this time?
Yeah, no, I would just like to, offer my congratulations again to Sol Jorbrak, who will be joining us in January, and Paul Canepa, who will be coming back on.
We got to get them to the show. We got to get them on. So, Paul, we calling you out. You got to come on the show.
No, but I'm looking forward to working with them. Saul has been on the planning commission, and Paul being a business owner in this city, lifelong,
and a former council member,
and a former council member who worked on audit, committee, was chair of audit committee. I mean, I'm looking forward to that. And again, I am looking forward to continuing to work with the mayor and the other council members as well in order to forward this city as a whole.
Yeah. And that was good. Hey, salute. But I got to say thank you to Governor Don.
He
produced our show.
Not only that, but he's making sure the facts are on point.
Oh, man, he's the man. He's over there laughing at sometimes, and he gives us a stink eye sometimes. But I want to say we appreciate you. Thanks for putting us on. Salute.
We got some champagne for you, Don. Salute. All right, everybody. That's our show for this week. Thank you for tuning in. Share on Facebook, on Twitter, whatever avenue you see this on, and we appreciate coming here and sharing our thoughts and having this discussion because we know a lot of people out there are doing the same. Thank you.